This video covers the repair of the Freewing F14 wing, specifically the mounting bracket on the wing. So if you decide to roll your F14 like I did, basically it will snap the parts, the little tab off the wing mounting block. Okay, you'll see that here in a second. So if you look at the red arrows here, you can see where it breaks between the mount point itself and the tab that's used by the wing sweep mechanism. So basically you have to replace that plastic mount top and bottom on the end of the wing here, and that's what we'll show. So those top and bottom brackets, or mounting brackets, at least in my case, they were glued onto the wing. So it was a bit of a challenge to pry them up. So I used a thin piece of plywood to not only protect the wing, but also leverage for a flat blade screwdriver to go around the outside of the bracket and trying to pry it up as much as I could. And that was for both sides. So the challenge is the where the pin goes in, where the wing sweep, where the pivot point is, and then there's a plastic piece on top of the spar. Okay, so in this case, that was really keeping the bracket from coming loose. Okay, even though I was able to put a screwdriver underneath the whole thing. Okay, most of it, the big portion there. Okay, so next what I did was to take a Dremel tool and just basically go around the center of the pin piece. There's a plastic piece there, and then the spar piece to separate it from the rest of the mounting bracket. I was able to pry off the bracket once I had done that with the Dremel tool. So what and you can see here where kind of went around there, and in the center, the pin there is really a bit of a challenge. You'll see that in just a second, what I had to do there. So for the bracket that goes over the spar, once I got the majority of the mounting bracket off, I went around it with an X-Acto knife and try and minimize the amount of foam that was impacted, on the wing. So that went around with X-Acto knife and then used a pair of needle nose pliers to pull that off. Okay, and then that's what it looks like once you pull that off, and that's top and bottom too. So the next one was the plastic piece there that's holding the bearing. Okay, so again, using an X-Acto knife, went around that top and bottom, and then eventually, very carefully to try and minimize the amount of foam that I was cutting into for the wing. Okay, and then eventually, top and bottom, I was able to push it through, and you can see here where I pushed it through, and there's in the middle of this cylinder is part of the wing foam. So you'll see that this plastic piece is actually two parts. And it makes sense because you got the top bracket and the bottom bracket. But it was actually glued onto that cylinder, the plastic cylinder there. Okay, so the foam is glued on. Here's what it looks like when you separate out the two pieces that comprise that cylinder, and you can see the bearing is still in there. Here I carefully use the Dremel tool to cut the plastic piece away. And being real careful not to let the Dremel tool hit the bearing there, but just wanted to make a gap deep enough so that I could put a flat blade screwdriver in there and pry that plastic piece apart so I could remove the bearing. So here you can see that I was successful in removing the bearing, and then the foam piece that's right next to it is that piece of foam that was in between the two plastic pieces that were holding the bearing. Okay, and they were actually glued on there, so it made it a little more difficult. So that's it. Basically, that's how you can take apart the mounting bracket for the wing. Obviously, top and bottom, same process. Okay, and then I would think the reassembly of the wing mounting bracket onto the wing itself should be straightforward. I don't know if I'm going to glue it that much. There's I think 4 or 5 screws that hold it on, but basically it should be pretty straightforward to do that.